I'm not going to be here long. I wanted to come and say something real quick, okay? And y'all know my real quick is usually like 20, 30 minutes sometimes. I just ran into a video of somebody in the spiritual community or just somebody that does like, you know, voodoo or witchcraft or whatever people want to call it. Um, and she was talking about the Sabbaths, in particular Halloween. And Halloween has been celebrated traditionally by many, many, many different cultures. Okay, many different cultures. So has the first day of summer. So has like the summer solstice, the fall equinox, um, all of them. Okay, because people have taken note of the changes that occur in weather and when the sun sets and rises. And so traditionally, the Sabbaths and the holidays have factually been celebrated by many, many different cultures. And so this was talking about how they don't want the energy of Halloween. And I just want to say that there is nothing wrong with the Sabbaths. There is nothing wrong with the holidays. There is nothing wrong. I mean, you can choose to not celebrate it. You can choose to not participate. That is your choice. But what I can tell you based upon my experience is that there is nothing and absolutely nothing wrong with these particular holidays. In particular, I heard somebody talking about Lionsgate. And, this person, I really do like this person, but I heard this person talking about Lionsgate and, how it may or may not be harmful. I think that if you believe that something is harmful, then just do some protection. You should be doing protection anyway, especially when there is some kind of like worldly event like that anyway. You know what I mean? Like you should be doing protection, right? Some kind of protection. But I'm going to tell you something straight up and down. There is nothing wrong with any of the holidays nor the Sabbaths. It's something wrong, horribly and inherently wrong with like the spiritual side of YouTube, period. Like, yeah, there's something awfully, awfully, awfully wrong with just, especially YouTube. Especially YouTube. I'm going to tell you something straight up and down. I dread coming on this website. It's awful. The energy on YouTube is just awful. Okay, in my opinion, it's horrible. It's horrible. It doesn't even make any sense, and I think that it has a lot to do with people wanting to get the most views, people wanting to get the most attention, people wanting to pretend to be God. And, and this is the reason why the spiritual communities, all of them on really basically every social media website, this is why they struggle. This is why it struggles. You know what I'm saying? Because people cannot just stop, people cannot just respect other people's space. There is a lot of violation of privacy is what I noticed. People come on here channeling this person, channeling that person. Technically, I'm going to tell y'all something straight up and down. I'm going to tell y'all straight up and down. Technically, you are not supposed to just be channeling people, channeling deceased people. Just I mean, I understand that there are a lot of well-intended readers on here that really do care, okay? But technically, you're not supposed to be doing that without the family's permission. Technically, you're not supposed to be doing that because it is a violation of privacy and it is considered to be very unethical. So, like, for example, if you are doing it, you're channeling, you're doing mediumship readings and stuff, and if you feel any type of negativity, it's probably because there are a lot of people that disagree with you. They don't agree with you doing that. They do not agree with you just reading people like that. They think that people do it to maximize views, which is, let's face it, the reason why they do it. I mean, I actually stopped doing it because you know what I see every single time, every, every single time I do any type of mediumship reading. I'm never like necessarily seeing that person's family, but I'm seeing other readers fighting over bodies, y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're fighting over bodies. So every time I put up anything, that's just like that Nolan Wells video that I put up. Like, I didn't even really say anything about Nolan Wells, and I could just see all these other people. Like, it's like, God damn, they're bullies. They're bullies. There's a lot of spiritual bullies on this website. There are a lot of people that, while they may be gifted, they are not very ethical. They are not. And a lot of them really don't care about these bodies on here. They don't, that come up, stuff that comes up in the news. Many of them don't care. A lot of the spiritualists on here are mainly focused on views. They're focused on more so money, but they're not focused on finding some kind of solution. There's things being conjured constantly, unnecessarily, energies being conjured constantly, unnecessarily, negativity. It's really, really bad. So, anybody that is talking about anything from a spiritual perspective on here, that's that it just it's just, this is a very toxic website. It really is. It's a very toxic website with a lot of very toxic people. It is, especially in the spiritual community. So if you found yourself, because here's what I want to tell you, this is just my experience, okay? I've been on YouTube forever. Like, I've been here for a very long time, believe it or not. I had another channel called Terry Cloth 97. And I you could kind of, if you're familiar with that older channel, you can kind of see where spirit started coming back to me. You know what I mean? And I started to explore because I had practiced witchcraft in my 20s, but since I didn't really know what I was doing, I walked away from it and came back to it, right? And still didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I still didn't know, to be honest with you. But I kind of winged it, got lucky, and got trained by my spirits. Okay. Um, my life, even though, of course, there was certain things that I was dealing with when it came to my family. There was certain things that I was dealing with when it came to, the baby daddy and stuff like that. But all in all, my life was still very, very, very peaceful. And I will never forget when things changed. When things changed was when I was still in Lawrence, Kansas, and I never forget I never forget the last time I was able to just sit down, have a nice glass of red wine, and just watch True Blood. And that was when I was segueing into the spiritual community, and there was a certain person, I'm not going to mention her name, but there was a certain person that I ran into, and then that was when all of the chaos began to come in with certain, not just one person, with certain people. And so there are a lot, but those are the ones that I know of that are just very toxic, sneaky, and conniving. And that is such a shame to be an empath or a medium or a healer or a witch, and to come on this website and to run into that. It's sick, and it's sickening. It really is. And you know, I will never forget that. I will never forget. I literally have a memory of. I never forget, y'all. I had just stopped breastfeeding Jacob because I extended breastfeeding him. So I breastfed my son until he was like 3, right? And I never forget when I stopped breastfeeding him, right? Because I wanted to lose weight. Like I just could not get that weight off of me, which was weird. Um, and so that's why I quit breastfeeding. And so I never forget, I had just recently stopped breastfeeding, and I was sitting there on the couch, and I just was having a glass of wine. Jacob had just fallen asleep. He was a baby back then, y'all. And I do have a few videos from then. He was such a cute little chunky butt. And I just felt so much peace. I believe that it was around the winter time too. And I was just sitting there next to my Christmas tree, and I was just having this glass of wine, and I could hear Ty typing on his computer from his room, light taps on his keyboard. Um, oh yeah, I know. He's my uncle is hard of hearing, so that's probably why he doesn't hear it, because he's hard of hearing. So um I could hear Deja and Danielle sitting in their room just laughing and acting goofy. And, Jacob was just kind of, laying on the couch, falling asleep or asleep. And it was such a peaceful memory, which I had many. I had many, many, many peaceful memories. The spiritual community just literally got sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. And here's why I think. I think it's because a lot of them don't know what the hell they're doing. That's what I think. That's what I think. This would be, I want to say 10 or 11 years ago. I don't believe that they know how to cleanse. They don't really know how to cleanse themselves. They're not disciplined enough, okay? A lot of these spiritualists out here are not disciplined enough. So, for example, hold on a second, guys. So, oh shit. So, for example, instead of cleansing themselves and knowing how to cleanse yourself, right? Knowing how to cleanse yourself, knowing when to cleanse yourself, knowing what you need to cleanse yourself from, knowing what to do, understanding why they are having those financial blocks and thinking, oh, I just need a road opener. Oh, I just need a curse reversal. No, that's not it. And I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to help them. Unless it's somebody that is coming to me to get advice and get work done, then I'll be able to give them advice. But I'm not going to I'm not giving any of my information because I've been paying attention. They don't know how to cleanse, they don't know what to do. So, what they will do is they will say, oh, let me go to the Bible. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what they found, what I have seen them doing is that instead of them cleansing themselves, which is how witches know how to do, we know how to cleanse ourselves. We know how to put negativity off of the earth. Like if it needs to be off the earth, if it needs to not be here, we know how to do that. Okay? Instead of doing that, what are they doing? They are doing stupid things like destiny swapping. They're doing stupid things like projecting onto other people. They're doing stupid things like trying to make somebody else suffer for their sins. That's what they're doing. And they claim that they have all this wisdom and they know what the fuck they're doing, but they're doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not how witches do it. Said no witch ever, oh, I've got to have a blood sacrifice or a baby to handle this. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. That's probably why a lot of witches turned away from religion. That's why they didn't accept it. Because what came with religion was Moloch. Moloch came with religion. It came right along with it. That's just like if you work with Lakshmi, you're going to run into her sister, Lakshmi. And what is Lakshmi going to do? She wants offerings. She wants you to give her some hot peppers and limes. I didn't even know that when I started working with Lakshmi. I didn't even know that. But yeah, that's what she wants. And you can either do that because Lakshmi is a great goddess to work with. She really honestly is. And I still work with her. But it's certain things that, like, you know, you want to do your research and know what you're doing, you know, and I think that all in all, here's the whole thing about it is that it needs to be cleansed. Like the spiritual community needs a cleanse. And something that I used to do a lot that I do not do now is I will come on here and I would do my exorcism incantation. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not, because you know what? You're supposed to know what you're doing. You're supposed, like if you're a medium or a psychic, I feel like you're supposed to know what the hell you're doing. You're not supposed to become possessed and start stalking people. You're not supposed to go crazy and just start channeling people and violating people's privacy and graping people in the astral. Like, I'm pissed off about it. Like and just the disgusting perverted stuff that's went on. It's not the holidays. It's not witchcraft. It's not even Christianity. It's people in social media. It's the whole spiritual thing in social media period. Even when it comes to some of the religious people on here, they're too toxic. They're too toxic. I don't know if y'all remember that family, and I can't remember their names, but it was a Christian family, and they were basically like showing people like how Christianity really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even remember the name of their family. I need to look them up and see what they've been up to now. But I mean, they came out in social media because they want attention. Everybody wants to everybody wants shock. Everybody wants shock value. They were just like on TV and in social media. God hates gays. God hates witches. God hates babies. God hates this. I don't know if y'all know who I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of them because I just really want to forget about these people. It was awful. It was, but you know, and there's still a lot of discrimination. It's, you know, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants maximum attention. I can promise y'all that when I first started my company, when I and my channel did get flagged a lot by the haters. Like, I really do have haters. My channel got flagged and blacklisted. That's not how I didn't build my company off of that. I built my business off of just coming on here and doing my readings, and people would contact me. Now at this point, I don't do that because I don't have the energy. I got everybody and they stinking mama trying to crawl up my ass. So I don't have time for it. I've already earned my stripes. You know, I do like to come on here and do readings. I really do. I love setting up my work area. I like making it look nice. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I like putting on the presentation with the crystals and the candles and stuff like that when I'm doing my readings. I don't even have the time for it. I have had to deal with so much shit from people, and people thinking, you know, because it almost felt like an unwanted initiation or something, but it wasn't like an initiation that was ordained by my spirit guides or my ancestors. It was kind of like a random initiation that did teach me things that I probably would have never had to have known. I am not the type of person to wish death on somebody. But you know what? If you're wishing death on me, I'm going to send it right back to you, honey. If you're wishing death on me, which that's basically, you know, a lot of the things that people were doing, it was wishing death on me. You know what I'm saying? Trying to have my children taken away from me. To me, you're wishing death on me because I would literally die without my babies. I would literally die. I would not know what the fuck to do without my fucking children. I don't like for my children to be upset. I don't like for a bunch of chaos around my children. I have always had a very peaceful household. I would never do that. Never. My household is quiet. It has always been quiet. I don't have a bunch of arguing. I don't do that stuff. My houses have always been filled with love. So, it's people on this website and they don't know how to leave people alone. They don't know how to mind their own business. And they're just very corrupt. Spiritual community is very corrupt. You know? Mm. All right, that's pretty much it. I said my piece. People can take it how they want to take it. Whatever. You shouldn't be on this website bullying and harassing people. I don't care if you think you a witch, a warlock, or whatever you think you are. Okay? I don't like that. And I have seen, in particular, black people. In particular, why is it always black people doing that? I have seen them run off so many readers. I have seen them do the most. And it hasn't increased anything for them. It hasn't brought them anything. And then again, I've seen people that know how to do authentic work, and I've seen them do work on people to make them lose their mind. Like literally make them lose their mind. Awful. So I just think that adults have a tendency to be very irresponsible. I think it's very irresponsible of them to do things like that. So that's my opinion. Ooh. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Y'all have a good night. Okay. Bye.